Hello and welcome to Meet Me in Tennessee. I'm your host, Allie, and this podcast is sponsored by the Northeast Tennessee Tourism Association. You can find us online at northeasttennessee.org and on all social media. Today we are sitting down with Matt Kyle and Jesse Cheers. Matt and Kyle are bringing something new and exciting to our region in Bristol, Tennessee. Matt, Kyle, and Jesse Cheers, can you please tell us about the Appalachian Bouldering Center?
Absolutely. Well, it's good to be here, Allie.
Yeah,
and I know the two first names is tough.
Yes, every time.
We're bringing a bouldering facility to the Tri-Cities. It's going to be over 3,000 square feet of climbing space, and we're going to be located in Bristol, Tennessee, on the Johnson City side of Bristol, so a short drive from Kingsport and Johnson City. And we're super excited about it.
Yeah.
So exciting. So is this the closest facility of its kind to our region?
Yeah, we're let's see, Asheville, Boone, Knoxville are probably the closest gyms, and they're great facilities, but there's definitely a need for one here in the Tri-Cities, so we're psyched to
I can
get
agree
that
with
going.
that. I think there's a big need for it.
Yeah.
And all those spots are over an hour drive, so it'll be nice to have one.
That's kind of the cool thing too, is like, I mean, there are definitely people when, home walls, like Matt has a home wall, and we have groups that y'all have come and climb with us Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I'm sure those are scattered around the Tri-Cities. So now having like a hub where all these people can come and meet each other and see like, hey, this climbing community here in the Tri-Cities is even bigger than I thought, and have a place to meet people and be like, hey, let's go meet up and go to a local Hidden Valley or Boone or Grayson and get outside and
for our listeners who may not know about the outdoor climbing scene as well and this tight-knit community, how do you feel this area is for outdoor climbing?
Couldn't be better.
Yeah.
It's kind of
it's fantastic. It's not as well known maybe as some of the bigger like Chattanooga areas, but the climbing is just as good. So that's, Jesse was saying, we really want to provide a hub or a community spot for people to gather and share beta, which is just information. It's climber talk for information on different places to get out and go outdoors, because that's what we love to do. That's our passion.
Sure.
And we want to share that with everybody. And right now there's no place to go to really get that information. I mean, there's a few, we're both on the board of directors for the Central Appalachian Climbers Coalition, which is a nonprofit that helps sustain access to outdoor climbing in the region. But and we have lots of events. We got a few big events coming up.
Okay.
So those are ways to get involved and get outdoors. But it'll be great to have a gym to sort of meet other climbers, see where they're going, share those areas, and we have a wealth of outdoor climbing in this region.
I mean, within 30 minutes to an hour, we have, there's
countless areas.
So many good areas. And then another thing that's unique about our area is we have year-round climbing. You get further south, and in the summer you just can't get out. It's 90 degrees, but two places, Hidden Valley is 30 minutes from Bristol, and it's at 4,000 feet, so it's going to be 10-15 degrees cooler.
Sure.
Grayson Highlands sits at 5,000 feet, so same thing. It's a lot of times in the summer, those two places, that's when I go up there and climb. I'm not going to go there when it's, the opposite is true. In the winter, it's 10 or 15 degrees colder. And go to Grayson and there's a foot of snow on the ground when there's nothing in Bristol. So
yeah, I think that's such a large draw to Northeast Tennessee, is that we don't have those harsh winters.
Yeah.
So the year-round access to outdoor recreation is it's like no other place.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
So the Central Appalachian Climbing Coalition?
Yeah.
Can you tell me more about that? Are they involved in helping y'all get this started or in any capacity?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Both Aaron and Brad, who are also co-owners in the gym there, they founded the CACC. And since then, we've all kind of met through various, first time I met, and in fact, a lot of the people I climb with today, I met at a CACC event up at Grayson 5 or 6 years ago. And it's a lot of the people I still climb with today, but it's really neat that how much they give back to the climbing community, and then also how much they're promoting areas that have been pretty hard struck with, like a lot of coal communities. Coal's not necessarily thriving in some of those towns, so how can we use the outdoor recreation to start driving people to those areas? And
that's interesting.
Yeah, and it's really just a grassroots movement of climbers getting together, trying to pool resources and volunteer our time to.
I love to see our region thriving in this direction.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, and so we're, they are separate. The gym is a separate organization. It's obviously for profit, but we're all on the board and we're all passionate about climbing, and we definitely plan to give back to the coalition and help out in that
Mitch
way.
and I were chit-chatting just before the show and just talking about how cool it is to drive down the interstate and see people with the mats on their back, like in that section we climbed in the just rocks in the middle of the road. You wouldn't think to go out there and set up.
Absolutely,
But how long have y'all been climbing?
Me personally, maybe getting close to 15 years, quite a while. And
old head,
Jesse?
I'm either 6 or 7. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I actually started, I'm from Chattanooga originally, so I started climbing bouldering in Chattanooga. And, it's been great. It's really, that's a big reason why me and Jesse are starting this gym as well, is bouldering has really changed both of our lives for the better. It's it's a way to stay in shape, be outdoors, meet a lot of really interesting, nice people from all over the country. And not many people know about it.
Sure.
And so we really want to share. I just think bouldering has done so many things for my life personally, and I'm in a much better place because of bouldering, and Jesse could probably say the same. And we've met a lot of great people, and it's really just changed the trajectory of my life, and so I want to share that with young people in the region. And also young people in the region don't know what bouldering is, and they don't know that there's such a wealth of it here. So I just think back, like, man, I wish I would have had a gym or started climbing when I was 7 or 8, and I would just be that much more involved, and I wasn't aware of it. So that's one of the big reasons why we want to start this gym, is to get young people involved in productive things that are going to better their lives. And there's so much negative things that they can get involved in. So
absolutely, and to have a gym that they can go and feel at home and try something new.
And it's too, it's kind of hard sometimes to get into outdoor climbing. There's having a place where you can kind of go and learn the basics, and then also meet those people in the gym that can go out and kind of foster that initial trip outside, and hey, this is what you're going to need. This is kind of where you need to go, where to park. These are where the boulders are. That's going to be something that that gym's going to help really facilitate for a lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely. And you talk about like getting kids interested in it. Is there like an age minimum for the gym, or has that been worked out?
That's the beautiful thing with climbing. I mean, from probably like 5 years old all the way. There's people climbing. There's a guy in his 60s that I think climbed like V12 a year or two ago. So
kids will definitely be welcome. I think we're gonna say five and up for the most part of as with parent supervision up to about the teenage years. And
seems to be a very family friendly activity.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so parents can come and climb with their kids. And
I love that. Being a parent, like just playing out on the rocks for the day, like you do learn so much. And thinking about the physical and mental aspects of it, can you maybe talk a little bit about some of the slang, like we think of cruxes and problems? Can you maybe explain to our listeners what working a problem, what that's like mentally?
Sure. Well, we sort of have our own language, us climbers. So you heard me say beta. That's like information on how to get somewhere or get up a rock climb. And we've acquired that over time. I don't know. I don't even think about it now. But then I talk to someone who's not a climber and they look confused, and I'm like,
what's the problem?
I'm talking climber lingo. So we can just go over the basics. A boulder problem is
the path you get to
get to the top of a rock. And I guess for people who are listening or watching who don't know what bouldering is, it's a form of rock climbing that you don't have to wear a harness or ropes or gear. You're basically free of all that stuff, and you put on a pair of shoes, and you get a little chalk to make sure there's no moisture on your hands, and you climb up, boulders, so you're not climbing super high, generally 10 to 15 feet. And the movement is much more concentrated and difficult. So each individual move is, really tough and maybe powerful or technical.
It's kind of like lifting weights, and that, if you're going to go for your max rep, you're only going to do 1 or 2 versus, like a rope climb when it's 100 feet is going to be, that's your 10 or 20 reps where it's, you're not as much weight, but still.
It's like a puzzle every time, I feel like.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's why it's called a problem. And that's why I gravitated towards bouldering versus sport climbing with ropes or trad climbing with gear and stuff, is that it's as much mental as it is physical. It's definitely physical. It's definitely challenging, but you really have to figure out, it's like a puzzle that you figure out with your body. It's
so much fun. I want to go climb right now. So that's a little on the problem. Can you just explain a little bit about the different levels of the grabs? The V1.
Sure. So you heard us, Jesse, say V12. Yeah. So the difficulty is measured on a V scale. And so it's pretty simple. V0 is easy. It goes all the way up to, I don't know, V17 nowadays.
Yeah. What's that, like a pinpoint?
I can't tell you.
Yeah. I don't know. They just levitate.
I thought V3 was kind of tricky.
Yeah. So
it's all perspective. It's like
V0 is where you start, and V1, V2, you just progress through the grades, and
Oh, my mindset's just going into like playing on your rock wall, and I'm thinking how you get into this flow state. Can you talk about that flow state when you're climbing?
Absolutely.
Sometimes you got it, sometimes you don't.
Well, yeah,
such is life.
Well, it is very challenging, and I tell a lot of like people who are new to climbing, you're going to fail a lot, and actually that's a skill in itself, is learning how to deal with failure.
It's a very humbling
gracefully,
experience.
Right? Bouldering has definitely taught me that, because you're falling maybe 95% of the time if you're doing it right.
If you're bouldering at your limit, you're falling more than you're succeeding.
But you learn from failure, and you learn each individual move, and you might try something 20 times and fail, and then you just, if I move my body this way a little bit, I can do it. And so you do that with each move, and by the end, it's this process, and by the end, you kind of piece it together, and then eventually you just sort of do it. And you're in that flow state, and you're on the top before you realize it, and you're like, wow.
Yeah.
And so it is a lot. I mean, it's great to get to the top of a boulder problem, but really the process is what I love.
And that can be that's kind of one of the beautiful things about outdoor climbing too, is, that problem's the same, now as it is next year, as the year after. And a lot of times those boulder problems, especially the ones that, mean the most to me, are the ones that, I know exactly how to grab every hold. I know exactly the position of my body. I know, everything about it. And then after 2 years, I start out, I can't even pull this first move. And then, a year later, I can do the first move, and then I can slap the next hold, but I can't hold it. And then, that eventually coming to, now I'm linking all the moves, but can I put it all together? And then eventually you get to that point, and maybe you flow right through it. Maybe you fight the whole way through, but
those little increments of progress.
Yeah.
Like you said, slapping the rock.
That's progress. And just being able to see that progress of I couldn't hold this a year ago. And now it's I can do these moves, and it's in that ballpark. And just, for me, I think that's something that's really just grabbed onto me with climbing, is that.
Sure. Yeah. It's interesting to think about outdoor and indoor, because outdoor you have the same problem year after year. Indoor, you switch it up, right?
Yeah, so we'll generally reset the wall. So resetting, we're just going to change the different problems that are up on the wall. Because that's the nice thing. That's kind of why you go to a gym, is that within a 3 to a month period, all those 3 week to a month period, all those problems will be reset. So it's I've done all the V0, V1, V2s in the gym that I can do. Well, then, once I've done those, it's I kind of want something a little different. And then
spice it up.
The week later, well, shoot, now I want to go for the new reset. They just reset. Say we reset on Mondays. I want to go on Monday and get on all the new problems that I haven't got on. And it allows for creativity. Matt's really good at setting. That's one thing I'm excited to learn more of. And we look forward to being able to offer that.
Yeah, and just thinking about working those problems, what does it mean to overcome a crux for someone who hasn't climbed?
It's a great feeling.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's to work hard at something and fail, and then honestly, that's one of my favorite things in bouldering is trying a movement and then just thinking to yourself, man, that's impossible.
Yeah.
There's no way I can do that. And then, hard work, being resilient.
Sometimes it's just,
then you do it and then you're like, oh, it is possible. So it really, bouldering is super mentally stimulating. I mean, I've learned a lot mentally from bouldering, applying that to other things, because it's a great feeling. If you try something and it feels impossible, it's like it can be done. You just have to figure it out and figure out how to do it.
And that's kind of where that like problem solving comes into, because it's like, sometimes you feel like you can't hold that hold, but maybe it's just a simple like, do I position this way? Do I grab it like a little different, or do I use this foot or a foot 2 inches higher, and those little tiny changes that don't seem, that big a deal. It's like those subtle little changes. It's like, oh, that makes it possible. So figuring that out is
all kinds of things you can carry over from bouldering into life.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And the feeling of community, like you already have this tight-knit community of climbers, and then to grow that with this gym. I think that's so exciting that it's coming here to our region.
Yeah. We're, like Jesse said, there's always been, I moved to this area 10 years ago, and I was thinking, man, there's got to be a climbing gym coming here soon, and
I've been waiting for years, not even knowing about bouldering, just thinking.
And there are actually a lot of climbers, in Johnson City and Kingsport. There's little cliques, and there always has been, and that's been growing the past decade. And there's just never been a place for us to all get together and have that real community feel. So we're really excited to cultivate that community and just be a part of bringing everybody together. Yeah, that's when great things happen.
I'm excited for y'all. What is this facility like that you're getting ready?
Pretty sweet.
We've been doing actually renovation work all week. The initial phases, and so we have a big 12,000 square foot warehouse space, and with 20-foot ceilings, and it's a big blank slate right now. And so exciting. It's a really great space. It's right off of Volunteer Parkway on this side of Bristol, on the Johnson City side of Bristol. So if you're from Johnson City, you just hop on 11E and it's straight shot. And
very accessible location.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's if people are familiar with Center 45 in Boone, it'll be quite a bit larger than that. So like I said, we got 3,000 square feet of climbing space. We've got all angles. Yeah. We've got a slab, which is less than vertical, all the way up to big giant roofs and prows and overhanging features. And Jesse said we have a kilter board, which is really neat. It's sort of an adjustable training wall.
Okay.
So you can adjust the angle back and forth, and you can actually set problems with people across the country. Yeah. And
it's kind of
they can share different problems.
Now, is this like the moon board?
It's very similar.
Okay. Yeah. Very cool. So I expect there to be a large draw from the local community.
Oh, yeah.
How do you all foresee visitors to Tennessee, to Northeast Tennessee, and tourists coming? I feel like it would be a draw for that too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, we definitely want to create a spot for climbers, but we also want to create a space for beginners, because we
were all beginners.
We were all beginners at some point, and it is a little intimidating.
Sure.
Because you see these people who are really strong, and they're doing these
it's very intimidating
things,
at first. Yes.
And it's a new thing. Most people aren't used to it, so we really want to create an atmosphere where beginners are welcome, and we can kind of show them the ropes and not feel pressure or scared to hop right in there and climb.
It's kind of one of the beautiful things though with the climbing community, and I think it kind of branches out even beyond our area. It's just realizing like, hey, we were all at that level once, and it's like you don't see the years of hard work that have gotten me from like, hey, I'm falling off even the easiest boulder problem to now is that you go outside and here's this V10 climb, and right next to it's a V0, and that V10 climber can, sit there and, hey, I'll spot you on this, you spot me on this, and let's like let you show me if you see something, and I'll like work with you. And it's just neat that you can have that. There's not a lot of sports, like I can't go out and play on an NFL team at like that high level and be like, I'm going to get killed on that field. But it's like I can go out and hang out with someone that's projecting the hardest problem in the world. And and it's a very welcoming. You go to, I've been to gyms all the time, and it's like you meet people, and it's like, hey, I have no idea who this person is, but they see me trying hard, or I see them, and it's like you just start like, oh yeah, come on, man, and it's like you might never even give them your name or say hi, but it's just like that instant.
There's
like,
a connection.
Yeah,
it's such a welcoming and supportive community.
Yeah.
Like I've felt that in any scenario of climbing. I went to Nashville for work and sought out an indoor climbing gym, so I can imagine vice versa, people come in here, that it will be a tourism draw.
Yeah, and bouldering is very social too. Like Jesse said, you usually have someone spotting you. Not always, but usually it's kind of making sure when you do jump down or fall off, you don't roll and hit something, kind of be in there. But also people are just very supportive in general. Like you share beta, so if someone knows how to get up a climb and you're kind of looking how to figure it out, you can ask someone and they'll share beta with you. And it's a really great way to meet people, and actually really good climbers can learn things from beginners. So like the example, someone climbing V10, which is really hard to get to, can be watching someone climbing V0, a beginner, and actually learn something new from that beginner. So it's great when there's not a lot of ego involved. And being from Chattanooga, I've definitely known people like that. And up here in Appalachia, it's there doesn't seem to be a lot of that. The people who have developed and the people who are leaders and mentors have really fostered an environment of just helping each other out, supporting each other.
Sure.
We're all in this together, and it's a great atmosphere.
It's not so much a competitive environment.
One of my good buddies from back home said, climbing is it's the only thing where I don't have to lose in order for you to win.
Yeah.
Like we can both win or we can both lose, but my success doesn't depend on your failure, which is really neat.
Right, and it's just as fun being on the mat helping somebody work a problem as it is up there on the wall.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that feeling once you're on the wall for a minute, once your arms start to kind of cramp up,
that pump.
you just let go.
Yeah.
So do you have any anticipated opening dates at this time, or an estimate?
Yeah, our projected date is August 1st.
Okay. August 1st. You heard it.
Coming out,
couple months. Yeah.
So if someone were to come on out, would they need to bring anything? Will y'all have shoe rentals?
We'll have shoe rentals. We'll provide chalk if need.
We'll have everything you need. So if you want to just come to the facility as is, we have shoes, we have chalk, and really with bouldering, you don't need a whole lot.
That's the beautiful thing with bouldering too, is that the entry level is like, hey, you need shoes and chalk. It's not, you don't need a rope, you don't need draws, you don't need if you go up to Hidden Valley and you've never climbed before, it'd be like somebody's got to hang a top rope or get the route up. And bouldering's just grab a pad, grab some shoes, and go figure it out.
We'll definitely offer some intro instructional classes and stuff like that if somebody wants to learn a little more before they just hop on.
And people can just walk in, or will there be a membership base?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll offer memberships and day passes both.
Okay.
Actually, we're going to offer some pre-membership specials, so we'll probably knock the price down a bit before we open. So if people want to start looking towards our website and Instagram and Facebook, we've got accounts so they can see announcements.
Okay, and since you brought that up, will you go ahead and tell our listeners where to find out more on those accounts and any websites?
So our website is AppalachianBouldering Center.com. Same thing for the Instagram and Facebook. It's Appalachian Bouldering Center. So give us a follow and follow us. Right now we're kind of getting updates as we move towards getting that wall manufacturer in there, and it's going to move fast. It's the next 2 months are going to be going about it really quickly. So
yeah, an Appalachian Bouldering Center. I imagine there will be some awesome swag that I can wait to purchase.
Yeah. Absolutely. We'll have lots of swag.
Maybe some local chalk bags or some logoed materials.
They're in the works.
So.
Yeah, and definitely come see us too. We have 2 events coming up with the Central Appalachian Climbers Coalition. There's Grayson Highlands Bouldering and Stewardship Weekend. That's Memorial Weekend. We will be up there Saturday and Sunday, and we'll just be hanging out. You know, me and Matt and Aaron and Brad, at the end of the day, we're all climbers, and we want to give back to our community. Before this gym was even really an idea, we still are passionate about our region and about climbing. And so those events and us getting out in the community and really trying to, you know, foster that climbing community with other people, and then also give back to the areas we love. That's really important to us. So come up and meet us there. We'll also be at the first weekend in June. There's Rally in the Valley, which is at Hidden Valley. There's a stewardship weekend that as well. And you know, the stewardship weekend are a great way to meet people. It's a good way to give back, and there's always going to be climbing to be done. You know, we'll work, you know, usually about half the day, and then there's going to be a lot of climbing. And
that's what the CACC?
That's what the
Absolutely, yeah. And so Jesse was saying we do, you know, it's just it's a great way to meet other climbers. And basically with those stewardship weekends, we just give back, meaning we improve trails, parking lots, just the, you know, the resource that we're at. So like when we're at Grayson Highlands, we just, you know, pick up trash, anything to improve the land.
Are there open volunteering opportunities?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And those are just show up. They're not necessarily like, you know, you can register, I think, for the Rally in the Valley, but you know, just at the end of the day, just show up. We're pretty...
Yeah, show up and
people.
And we'll have tools. We have everything you need. You're welcome to bring your own gloves and tools and stuff, but you can just show up as is and give back a little bit, and then meet some, you know,
meet some cool
folks, and then do a little climbing as well.
Just one other question popped into my head. Any local like gear outfitters or places like that you'd want to mention where folks could find some climbing gear?
Yeah, Mountain Sports in Bristol. We got Mountain Sports Limited. Yeah, we have some climbing gear, got bouldering pads, anything you need for rope climbing, and shoes. And so go check us out down in Bristol. So
yeah, check it out. So we're looking forward to August 1st.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. Anything else y'all want to mention? Any more upcoming events or things for people to get involved at this time?
Yeah, I'd just say the big thing is, you know, follow us on Instagram and Facebook, because we'll be kind of providing updates with our renovations, you know, every step along the way. So if you want to follow us along on this opening journey, come see us. And then any announcements, you know, like pre-memberships, events, things like that, it'll all be on our website and Instagram and Facebook. So
awesome. And that's Appalachian Bouldering Center.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay. Well, Matt, Jesse, I appreciate y'all coming on the show today.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Allie.
For upcoming events and happenings in Northeast Tennessee, be sure to follow us on all the socials and check out our website at northeasttennessee.org, where there's more to do, more to see, and more to be when you meet me in Tennessee. Thanks for tuning in.